Welcome into Boston Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. The Celtics are back in the playoffs, so let's preview their matchup with the Brooklyn Nets that is set to get going on Saturday. Best of 7, as is every other NBA playoff series, and Game 1 will get going in prime time Saturday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Time in Brooklyn, New York. Nets 7.5-point favorites in Game 1. The over-under set at 228 for a combined over-under. So keep that in mind if you're going to go be a betting man on this matchup. Now, these two teams played 3 times in the regular season. Unfortunately for Boston, did not go very well. On Christmas Day, they lost to the Nets 123-95. On March 11th, lost to the Nets 121-109. Closer in the most recent matchup, 109-104. But Brooklyn has certainly owned Boston this season. But it's the playoffs. It's a new set. Anything can happen once the playoffs get going. Who you got? And we'll get to some keys to victory here in just a little bit on today's video. Type BOS for the Boston Celtics. Type BKN for the Brooklyn Nets. Get your votes in. Who you picking in this first round matchup? Today's show is sponsored by our sports betting partner, BetUS. And hey, chatsports.com/bet. Get a 125% deposit bonus when you sign up. The NBA playoffs are back, so put your money where your mouth is by going to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code CHAT125 to get that 125% deposit bonus. Game 1, betting odds are already out. Like I said, the Nets 7.5-point favorites. The over-under combined between the two teams at 228 points. That feels a little high, even though the Nets can really put it up. I kind of like the under in this game. Maybe you feel the same. If you do, chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code CHAT125 to get that 125% sign-up deposit. Obviously, the Celtics got here because they were able to win their play-in matchup with the Washington Wizards earlier this week, able to get some rest and try and get as healthy as possible for this first-round series. Jayson Tatum, a 50-burger in that game to take out Washington and to clinch the number 7 seed in the Eastern Conference. So, Eastern Conference fully set, by the way. They're the 7 seed. They'll take on Brooklyn. You got the Sixers and the Wizards. Washington was able to knock out Indiana on Thursday night. Knicks-Hawks is the 4-5 matchup, and then the Bucks and the Heat are the other playoff series. They are the 3-6 matchup. They feed into the winner of the Nets and the Celtics. So my 3 keys to pulling off the upset, and it would be an upset if Boston is able to pull it off. Jayson Tatum has to play like an MVP. He's probably going to have to be the best player in this series if Boston is going to pull this off. Now, that doesn't mean he has to score 50 points a game like he did in the last game, but he's probably going to have to do something like this, put up these type of numbers. 33.5 points. This is over his last 5 games. 8 rebounds, 4 assists, a block and a half per game. He's played like an MVP down the stretch, especially without Jaylen Brown, and that's what he's going to have to continue to do to give Boston a puncher's chance, because with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden all fully healthy now, it's just going to be an uphill battle without Jaylen Brown. So Jayson Tatum needs to continue to play at this level. So what do you guys think? Can the Celtics pull off the upset? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Get your votes in on this one. I'll never say never. I'll give a final prediction later on in the video, but it's going to be an uphill battle without your second best player. Y for yes, N for no. Can the Celtics pull this off? A big way they could pull it off is Marcus Smart. You need him to be edgy. You need him to be that pest defender that he can be and just annoy the crap out of Brooklyn. That's basically what you need him to do, while also giving you some offense as well. I mean, you need Marcus Smart to have the best defensive series of his career, and on top of that, to piss off Brooklyn players in the process. Annoy Kyrie Irving. Get in Kevin Durant's grill if you get stuck on him at times. Like, just be that all-defensive type of defender that plays with an attitude and wins all the 50-50 balls. Pest is the perfect word. That's who he is. That's what he's going to have to be if the Celtics are going to have a chance in this series. We know Smart's going to play with edge and energy. Will it be enough to potentially pull this off? That is what we will have to wait and see when it comes to the Boston Celtics. Subscribe to Boston Celtics Today at youtube.com/CelticsTV. You can also just hit that big red button right below the video. We'll have coverage throughout the entire playoff run, whether that's just one round or maybe even a surprise run deeper into the playoffs. And once the Celtics are eliminated, our off-season coverage will begin right away. We're not going to go away. We're not going to take some time off. We'll continue to plug out videos for you guys here on Boston Celtics Today. So go ahead and subscribe right now. My third key to victory, stay hot, Kemba Walker. Kemba Walker, it's been a frustrating year for him in a lot of ways. That knee has been a problem, and it still is a little bit, but it seems like he's finally starting to get healthy. His past 10 games, he's been awesome. He's played like a number one, if we're being completely honest. You need him to just be a number two, and I think he can be that. 30 points per game the last 10, 4.5 assists, over 50% from the field, 46% from three. Kemba Walker's been on a heater, and it's just in time since Jaylen Brown is not out, because Jayson Tatum can't do this alone. There's just no way he can do it. It can't be a Steph with the Warriors situation where it's 1-on-5 at times with Jayson Tatum. It's not going to happen against Brooklyn. There's just no way. So Kemba has to give you 25, 26, 27 points per game and do it at an efficient clip. Can he do that through a best-of-7 series? We'll see. Brooklyn doesn't play a lot of defense, so I think it's possible that he can score at a very high level, but the key in this series is you're going to have to run and gun with Brooklyn at times. Hopefully you can slow it down by playing some defense, but Jayson Tatum needs some help, and Kemba Walker hopefully will continue to provide it. So who do you have? I asked you guys earlier in the video, want to ask you again, who wins this series in the Eastern Conference? Type BOS for the Boston Celtics, type BKN for the Brooklyn Nets. Get your votes in on this one right now. And my prediction, I got the Nets in 5 games. Look, just to kind of circle back on some of these thoughts, I got Brooklyn in 5. I do think some of the games will be close. I do think the Celtics will at least win a game. I just look at this and I'm like, look, KD, Kyrie, Harden, they're all healthy for the first time all year at the same time. You're telling me the Celtics, without their second best player, is going to pull off the upset? I just think it's too tall of a task. The Celtics have been inconsistent and banged up all year long. Now, if they're going to pull the upset, this is what it's going to require. These 3 keys right here. Jayson Tatum, like I said, got to be the best player in this series. If that doesn't happen, you don't have a chance. Number 2, Marcus Smart. You got to annoy Brooklyn, man. You know, if that means, doing some of that, that borderline crossing the line stuff, that's what it takes. Hey, it's playoff time, baby. You got to be scrappy. You got to do whatever it takes to get to the second round. And then you need Kemba to stay hot. I mean, it's as simple as that. If all those 3 things happen, I think you got a chance. That being said, I think that's a tall task. I think the Nets are ready to go. I got Boston in 5. Then I think offseason changes are coming to this roster. Game 1, Saturday, May 22nd, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Hey, we give honest takes, honest opinions here on Boston Celtics Today. You're allowed to disagree with me in the comments section, but I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I got Brooklyn winning, but we'll be following this thing very, very closely. We have recap videos, news, rumors throughout the playoffs and on into the offseason, so make sure you keep it tuned in to Boston Celtics Today.